Hi guys, Arsenal 1, Chelsea nil in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. Oh my goodness, aggregate 4-2 Arsenal, and the goal came very, very late in the 97th minute from Kai Havertz, a former Chelsea player, and the celebrations were ridiculous. Did you see Noni Madueke flying down to go celebrate as well? I think there's a lot of resentment from some of these old Chelsea players, that's all I can say. So now I took so many notes of this game when I came into it. I'm sure earlier, if you saw my video, I was saying I wasn't feeling comfortable. I just was not feeling comfortable about the game. I just feel like Liam Rosinia has done really well for Chelsea. And some of the games is coming in, it could change the game. But Arteta decided to go full demonic mode. The tactical discipline on show tonight, our tactical discipline, our defensive discipline. Our defense was 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. They looked so chilled out. I was anxious because I'm thinking we are just a mistake away from conceding a goal, but there were no mistakes to be seen. Did you see Saliba taking walks down the right flank there? Saliba, did you see Big Gabby, going for headers? They were so chilled out. They did not even come out of second gear. They were so relaxed. I was not relaxed. I was not happy with the approach we took. I would have rather, in the first 15 minutes, I would have rather we scored a goal and chilled on a two-goal sort of cushion. But no, I don't know how Arsenal are so comfortable and relaxed. And playing like that in a semi-final is very scary. Guys, it doesn't matter what tournament you're playing, you cannot be that chilled out and composed in a semi-final. Basically, in terms of excitement, it is going to piss off all the right people. I've seen some YouTubers saying that they want to stop watching football because of Arsenal because it was the most boring game they have ever seen, blah blah blah. But you know what? I feel for them because there's nothing worse than a team you hate so much being in absolute total control of every speck of grass on that field. Everything was pure control. I'm looking at this Kai Havertz goal right now. You even have Martinelli, who, me and Martinelli have got some beef going. You know what I mean? Especially unless it's Tuesday, Wednesday night in the Champions League. But he had a great opportunity to pass the ball to Gyökeres. He had a great opportunity to do more. But I think they went for better safe than sorry, but with a lot of control. Kai Havertz is absolutely fantastic. The way he took this goal, basically Sanchez was thinking he's going to bang it in the way Gyökeres and even Noni Madueke were doing. He is so chilled. We have missed Kai Havertz, we have missed him so much. He is just what we need for this run in. Well, it's not really a run in, but we are into our first final, which is incredible. So yeah, I put in the 8th minute that I was anxious. Um, and then, like I said, we haven't been very convincing versus the bigger teams. Last season, I thought we were going after the bigger teams a lot more. Do you see how Manchester United played Arsenal and Manchester City, where they see a big team, and that is how we used to play. And then we'd go to the smaller teams, and then we would not have that same ambition. But now we are beating the smaller teams very comfortably, mostly. And then we go and sort of like be tentative with the bigger teams, basically showing them too much respect, which can be another problem. But tonight, Chelsea came with a game plan which was quite incredible because you are basically losing. You need 2 goals to go through, and you're being careful. Defensively, they were good. I thought they absorbed a lot of pressure in the first half, nothing crazy. But they basically just stuffed their midfield. Every time Arsenal got the ball and they were trying to pass it through them, it was getting stuck in someone's feet. They had very little threat on the wings, Chelsea, till they made some changes later in the game. Estavao came on and he got caught up. But Arteta just took, what's his name? He took our wingers off. He took a couple of players off. He took Gyökeres off and he took Noni off and replaced them, basically giving us a lot more protection. I thought in the second half when it started, they started using Noni more. Noni Madueke had a few more chances trying to create opportunities, but every time we failed to create a clear-cut opportunity, there was no panic, there was no stress. They just went into control mode, which we did very well in hindsight. During the game, I was like, you guys are going to finish me off. And then there was that absolutely beautiful opportunity where from the wing. There was a lot of wing play, then ended up with Zubimendi putting in a gorgeous cross past Sanchez onto Gabi's head, which that should have been a goal, but Cucurella straight heading it out of the way. And it was incredible, you know. I thought Cucurella did really well today. There were points in the game where Chelsea got very aggressive, and I was like, "Ooh, it's getting a bit, too physical here," but then they calmed down a bit. They couldn't sustain it. Now, in terms of set pieces, Arsenal were limited tonight, and that this is something everyone's picking up that, oh, they're picking up the fact that Chelsea left players in, like in the field so that, Arsenal were forced to watch them and not focus on the corners. Yeah, that was great. But you know what was even better? It was like Chelsea limited the number of corners Arsenal got in the day, at the end of the day. Because Arsenal, we get a lot of corners, and only one or two of them end up in the back of the net. So if you allow us to only get three corners in a game, chances are we are not going to score them because we probably have 10 corners and score one, 10 corners or score two. So if you only limit us to four corners, we are not going to be able to score. And this tactic of leaving players in the field, Sunderland did that magnificently when we went to the Stadium of Light a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago. They did that incredibly. They were not phased by our corners. And then like they had big, massive defenders in there. In fact, their corners were more dangerous, and they just did not pander to us, and they just did not buy into the corner frantic madness. And I think we need to be really, really cunning when they come to the Emirates over the weekend. We need to be really, really cunning. But I, in the end, did not understand why. First of all, we played for a nil-nil draw in the end, but I don't know why Chelsea did not do more, expose themselves a little bit more. I mean, guaranteed they would have lost, but in the end, Arsenal did what they had to do. They stunk the place out. We stunk the place out. And then with half a second to go, ball ends up to Martinelli. Martinelli crosses it over to Kai Havertz. Oh no, it wasn't Martinelli. Was it Trossard? Anyway, one of them, Trossard or Martinelli. Ends up to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz does this beautiful thing with the ball, ends up in the back of the net. And yeah, as an Arsenal fan, I am absolutely happy with the result. 90 minutes of that, though, was very painful to watch. I don't like excitement. I wish we had killed that game off earlier, but teams need to allow us to kill them off. If you're going to be very defensive, yeah, we're going to wait you out. And that's what we did in the end. I think it was a magnificent, magnificent result. And I'm proud of the boys. We are into the final. We are now going to wait for Wednesday night where we see whether we're going to play Manchester City or Newcastle United. Now, yesterday, I sort of said that I would prefer Newcastle because I'd rather go physical instead of Manchester City. To be fair, actually, I still agree with that. I'd really rather not play Manchester City because psychologically, I've got a Manchester City phobia. We've been through a lot with Manchester City, and then we do beat them at finals. Arteta is crazy when it comes to tournaments. So we can probably win this tournament. It should be our first trophy. It's just a huge shame that we are facing one of these two. But it's going to be Manchester City because they are leading by 2-0 before they go into this. But anything can happen in football. And Eddie Howe could probably coach a miracle. We will see. In the end, guys, tell me, what did you think? What did you think about that performance from Arsenal? I'm not complaining. I am just happy we are in the final. When we are lifting that trophy at the end of it, I won't be hearing everyone talk about how rubbish Arsenal are with the results. But instead, I'll be listening to them say that the Carabao Cup is not an important trophy, which is what I prefer, because that's what they all do, and they are liars and losers. But in the end, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be catching up with you very soon, especially over the weekend. See how we get on or how we line up versus Sunderland. Guys, don't forget to leave a comment and I'll be catching up with you very soon. Bye bye.